Okay, Rabbi.
Okay, so the Hakdama, the introduction of the Tikunei HaZohar, the first drasha that we brought is concerned with, we start with the Sippo, the bird, who is no dead, who wandered from her place, her nest, and we brought a passage from Mishli, which says, Sippo no dedet min kina, as a bird which no dedet goes away from her nest, so a man is no dead, he goes away from his place. So we explained that in relation to the Almighty who accompanies the Shekhinah. We said that was also Moshe Rabbeinu because he's also called Ish, and now we said, we're going to start a third explanation of who this Ish, which is no dead, who wanders from his place. So we say, Va'oded Kain Ish no dead b'mkomo. So also, who is this man who is exiled, who wanders from his place? Man de'ihu Ish Tzadik. Who is this? This is the Ish Tzadik, the righteous man. The Azor Navanad, the Navanad is from Precious. He wanders on his own from the place of the Shekhinah. Now, of course, there's no coincidence that the very first matter that the Tikunei HaZohar is talking about is someone who's exiled from his place, because Rabbi Shimon, of course, was exiled. He had to run away from the Romans, and he was exiled in a cave with his son. So it's very appropriate that that's how he begins. So he says of the tzaddik who has to go away from the place of the, like the Shekhinah, and they say of the Shekhinah, who's called Yonah. Yonah is the bird, and Noah sent from the nest. He said, "V'lo matzah ha'yonah menoah," and the Yonah found no resting place. Nahachi ukmuhu rabbanan, and this is how the Chazal explained this. Bismana de'itchala be'ed mikdash, at the time that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Gaza al b'tei hatzdikim de'yechal zu. So there was a gazela made, a decree was made on the righteous that their houses would also be destroyed. At the time that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, so in the Shemayim there was a decree that also the houses of the righteous would be destroyed. The Azlin kol chad no dead in common. So everyone, every righteous, every tzaddik in Yerushalayim at that time, even if he was not taken off to Babel immediately, his house was destroyed and he had to wander off on his own. But because we say that it is appropriate, it's right for an Eved to be like his master. So the tzaddik in this world is like his master, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Shekhinah. So since the Kodesh, we know that when the Shekhinah goes into exile, the Kodesh Baruch Hu goes with him. So therefore, it's also appropriate that the tzaddik here, who's like we said today, Yeshua was called Eved Hashem, that the righteous man goes into exile with his master, with Shekhinah, the Kodesh Baruch Hu. But Rasa Demila, and this is the secret, the sod of, there's a pasuk from Iyov, no dead who lalechem aye. So he says he also is know that he searches in exile after the Shekhinah, the Mephoshim say, who is called Lechem. It's a pasuk from Iyov. So, and it says, Aye, who will give it to him? A man is searching for bread in the Moshel, in the example, a man is searching for bread. Who will give it to him? Aye de milchamadaya. Who will have mercy upon him? Who will, again, if we're talking about the Shekhinah is separated from the place and was thrown into exile. So who will have mercy? Where will we find a righteous person who, through his good deeds, can save us from exile, can redeem the Shekhinah from exile? So he says, of Hachi, because it also says in Yeshayahu, Ein manahel la, there is no one who can lead him or her. We're lost, right? We at the time after the exile and the destruction, so we're like lost. We have no one who can lead us. Like the Shekhinah in the Moshe. There is no one who can accept upon his heart to save the Shekhinah from exile. Or begin dial Eved Lamahavik. So that's why it's appropriate for the Eved, for the servant, to be like his master. Now the Zohar, the Tikunei explain. When he says he needs bread, he's searching for bread. So lechem, bread, is Torah, right? There's no, the meaning of bread is Torah.
I forgot the meaning of lechem is Shekhinah. We said no that who the lechem I.
Where will he find it?
He searches away from the Shekhinah. Where will he find it?
No, the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is no dead who. Lechem, we said that means that he's in exile after the Shekhinah. It's true, that's true. It does say, according to the parish, that the Shekhinah in that sense is called Lechem, but that's the style of the style that it moves and it changes. So here it's saying that he's searching for Lechem, and Lechem means Torah. I go on the Mari Torah da Azlini mit Rachim. So that means that because we are not Osek for Torah at a time when, including our righteous people, our leaders are not Osek for Torah, so then that causes even the Chachmei Torah, the Chachamim, that they will go and they will be exiled into Goddess. Zaka ihu mare metivta, mare midrash, mare Torah. So now the Gemara continues. However, happy are those, the masters of the wise men of the yeshiva. We explain the various classifications as we can learn them. The Moe, the masters of Midrash, Moe Torah, the masters of Torah, Gam Tzipor Motzavayas, because even also the bird will find out. So we started off that we're all going into exile, including the Chachamim. The Shekhinah has gone into exile. The Kodesh Baruch Hu has gone into exile with the Shekhinah. All the wise men, the Talmidei Chachamim, have gone into exile searching for Torah. But now we move and we say, happy are those, the Chachamim of the yeshiva. They are, according to Matog Tavash, they are those who, the Kehilas, who have at a fixed time, they learn to other people. That's what yeshiva does. Yeshiva has fixed times for classes, etc. And it's marbit, it gives Torah to other people. So happy are those people. Those are called the Ma'arei Mesivta, the masters of the yeshiva. Ma'arei Midrash, he says, those are those who have fixed time in the base Midrash from the morning until the evening to give merit to those who come and collect there. So you have a Rosh Yeshiva who's found from the morning to the evening, and people come to learn from him. Happy is his lot. That's Ma'arei Midrash. Ma'arei Torah, those are the Chachamim who are Osek Torah all their days, night and day, and they don't stop. So we say, really, we have the masters who have yeshivas, who sit and learn and have a base midrash, and people come in. Those who learn Torah day and night, they never stop. All those people married. So now the Gam Tzipor, so also the bird, which we said in the Mashal is the Shechina, which has to wander in this world, and as she does that, she collects all the good things in this world. So now she finds a house. Although she's expelled and she goes out, but likely we find a house, because in exile we have yeshivas and we have beis midrashim and we have chachamim who learn all the time. So she finds a house, and that's Bat the Nishma'in Ve Pitgame Orais, a house in which is heard words of Torah. That is a sanctuary in the world we live in the harshness of the world we live in. What Rabbi Nachman calls the world, all the problems of the world, but we have a house where people sit and learn. So that's a sanctuary, and that's a resting place, a place which we call it bad, even for the bird, which we say is like the Shekhinah. The Ba'ata de East Tom and Torah de Ihu Amuda Emsaisa, because in a place where there is Torah, that is the middle pillar. The middle pillar, there are three pillars on which the world stands. Torah, Vodik, and Minas Chasadim, right? And Torah is the middle pillar. In the Kabbalah, the middle of the seven lower spheres, the first of the middle sphere is Tiferes, right? We have Chochmah and Bina above, and Haftas, and then we come down, we have Chesed on the right side, Gvur on the left side, and Tiferes is the middle pillar. And Tiferes always means Torah. Tiferes, you could translate, I like to translate as spiritual beauty. So Torah has that quality of spiritual beauty. So here it says that Torah is the middle pillar. So where you have a place where there's always Torah, Gam Tzipor Matzah Ba'as Tam. So also the Tzipor, the bird, which in our analogy is the Shekhinah, finds a house there. The Gigda Ukme Rabbanan Kol Ba'asha Ein Nishman Bo Divrei Torah V'Sev Techeret, because the Chachamim say, we've learned that any house where there were no Torah, no words of Torah heard there, in the end will be destroyed. And those Chachamim that Torah is heard in their houses, Yichai Beitzim Afuchim Banim. They're called Beitzim, which are the eggs, Afuchim, which are chicks, and Banim, which are sons. And now the Tikunei explains who these are. Beitzim are those who learn Mikveh, that is to say, those who learn the Pshat of the Chumash, they're called Beitzim. Because in the because in the way that an egg is closed, this is the lowest level. They learn, but what they learn is really closed. They don't have a full understanding of it, right? So they are at the lowest level, and they are zoche to what's called the nefesh in the Kabbalah. We know that we won't talk of the upper two, but we could say the three aspects of the spiritual aspects are the nefesh, the ruach, and the neshama, right? So those people who learn simply without really trying to understand deeply what they're learning, so they call it, the Tikunei call them, they are my mikra, those who know Torah, but don't go deeply into it. Those are called beitzos. Afuchim, which is a higher level, chicks, they've already been laid, right? They're hopping around. So it's called Mare Mishnah. So they are learning the Torah Baal Peh, the Sheish Sidrei Mishnah, but they were called chicks because they're higher than the beitzim, but they still haven't fully grown, and even though they learn Torah Ba'al Peh, they're not able to get to the very highest level of the pneumius of the sodas, and therefore they are at the level of ruach. And also that goes according to the different levels of the worlds, different portions. That the lowest level, which relates to nefesh, is the world of a seer, right? So the higher level than that, which is the level of ruach, is the level of Yetzirah. And then the highest level, Banim Mare Kabbalah, which are the sons, those are the ones who learn the Kabbalah. They're involved in the secrets, the secrets of the Torah. And after, it's interesting, and unfortunately, say after they have filled their stomachs with the Gemara and the Poskim, they move on to the level of learning Kabbalah, and they are also then zoche to the third level, which is the level of neshama in the world of Bria. So I should just add that the Tikunei HaZohar and the Zohar in general is in the position that the Kabbalah, containing the secrets of the universe, is at a higher level than other levels of learning. It's not necessary, God forbid, I'm not qualified to express an opinion about that, but that's, let's say for the learning, that's the position that the Kabbalah takes, that learning the Kabbalah is a higher level, because you have to learn Torah as well first. He says you fill your stomach with it, and then you can move on to a higher. Va'aleo itma, and on all these chachamim, it is said, now we're going into the verse about the Shloach HaKen, sending off the V'ha'em avetzit ala echochim, or ala beitzim. So when the mother is avetzit, she's sitting on the chicks or on the eggs. Shalech tishalech minei. So then someone when there is no destruction, he says, then the mother rovets it. She sits on the chicks and on the eggs. Those are the people we say who learn the Mishnah and the Mikra.
That's the mother sitting on the egg, it's sitting on the egg, it's one of the Mishnah.
Yeah, exactly. The mothers are vetzil ala efochim ala beitzim. So the efochim are the people who learn the Mishnah, and the beitzim people who learn simply just read the Mishnah. So in such a, but at the time when they're there, when things are quiet and normal, she sits on her eggs. But at the time where there was a chorban, trouble, then it says shalach to shalach. So then the mother, which is the Shechina, leaves, has to go away and leaves these people who are only concerned with the pashtus of the Torah. Aval amoy Kabbalah itma, but on those who are learning the Kabbalah, it says, Lo tikach ha'em al habanim. You cannot take away the mother from the son, because the Shechina rests always fixed on them. So she never leaves them, even at a time of solace, of trouble. So what he's saying now is he's learning the pasuk, and that when things are well, so then the mother, the Shechina, can also be with those who learn the simple levels of Torah. But when things are bad, so then the Shechina has to leave them. She send them away, send the mother, the bird, away. But when the mother is with the sons, which is the highest level of people who are learning Kabbalah, so she's not sent away. She's always there. She stays with them. Because there is no seichel, intelligence, and chokmah to understand all the various matters and matters in itself of the Shechina in Golos, like the people of the Kabbalah who are called upon it. So I would like to push that a little bit. It seems that what we're saying now is that the problems of the world in general and the problems of the Jewish people in particular, we can't understand, right? People ask, how do you explain the Shoah? How do you explain all these terrible things that happen? The Kabbalah is concerned with this problem. The central question, one of the central questions of the Kabbalah is, how do we explain the presence of bad and evil? It's a basic question. I always ask that. How can it be people are intelligent and the majority of people we think have good intentions? There's enough food to go around the world, and yet people are starving. You go into a metropolis, which is after so many centuries of technological development, we live in a world which has such tremendous technology and development, and this unbelievable crime and poverty and pain, war. How can we explain that? So the Kabbalah, being concerned with that, is able to explain it if someone is deeply involved with that. And therefore, that's why he's saying now, at the time of trouble, at the time of Golos, only those people who are at that level of studying Mali Kabbalah, so they are able to find some kind of explanation and understanding, and they are able to live with it. They're able to live with the tablet. Otherwise, people close their eyes. Well, I don't know what they do. So I think that's what they're saying. Because these people who are studying Kabbalah at that level, they are making a dira, a home, for the Shekhinah and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And the Shekhinah is resting upon them permanently, as if it's like someone who lives in a permanent home. Upachin ima, and they fly with her when she goes to God. So we're able to understand it. We're not able to solve the problems of the world immediately, but we understand it. We understand in a deep way what's happening. See, so that's why I think that Rabbi Shimon and the Chabur are saying now that it gives people, the study of the Kabbalah gives people a way of being able to relate to all these terrible things that happen in the world, and to deal with Golas, to deal with exile. Kulahu madadadin ema b'shlichus dila, and they all these chachamim and all these righteous people involved in this study, wherever the Shekhinah has to go in Golas, so they go with her, and they accompany her in her shlichus, in what she has to do. So therefore it says, don't take the mother away from the son. You don't separate the Shekhinah, which is the mother, from the sons, which are those people learn Shekhinah. Ata Amamilan Ilan, while he was saying these things, sorry, I missed a paragraph. Aval Apfuche, Leis Gadfin Dilahon Shleimin Deparchim Bahar. But the chicks were the ones who just learned the Torah, which is revealed, and don't get involved in the secrets. Their wings don't always fly with them on this shlichus, on this task. Shahakanfim heim, so the inan pikude da'aseh. The wings, it says, are the secret of the mitzvahs aseh. When they're done, the shleimus, when people do the positive commandments and shleimus, so then they do the dikduka, they do the mitzvahs in the complete way, and they also have the kavanah and the necessary intention and deep understanding of the mitzvahs. I have to insert here, you see, there are ignorant people who think that at the time of Mashiach, etc., we won't have to do the mitzvahs and they can do whatever they like. It's a terrible mistake, and this is the kind of mistake that leads people to say you have to be very careful with Kabbalah, because people who are ignorant and don't understand it think that it's an excuse not to do mitzvahs. Quite the opposite. They're involved in the absolute details of the mitzvahs and also the deeper understanding of the mitzvahs. So they are, that is like the positive mitzvahs are called the wings. So Akosha came bait, so he says the Afuchim, they don't have the wings, they do the mitzvahs, but they don't do it necessarily fully, and they don't do it with understanding and try to understand the deep kavanas of it. And even more so the Beitzim. So therefore, again, another aspect, it is said of them, so far as the mother is concerned, so send away the mother, because the mitzvahs, the positive mitzvahs, when we do the positive mitzvahs in shleimus, fullness, with detail and with an understanding, that brings us close to the Almighty. When it's done by rote, or a matter of habit, without really understanding it, so what's it if it doesn't have a value? It's nothing. It's nothing. It's separate. It doesn't. We don't accompany. It doesn't bring us close to the Almighty. It doesn't make us break us. Doing the mitzvahs brings us close to the Almighty. That's only when we do it it's not all or nothing. And the more we try to understand it, the deep Kavanah, so that brings us. Adama Milan Ilan, and so this is a classic kind of a Zohar. Now, as he was saying these things, Rabbi Shimon, and he was talking about these sodos, these secrets, Hasaba is Daminme. All of a sudden, an old man, a sage, comes in. They say this was one of the neshama from Gan Eden, who looked like an old man, an old sage, and he suddenly comes into the group that we're learning now the secrets, and he appears, and he has a problem. He has a question. He says, "V'hakasiv v'esa bonim tikachva." So it says in the verse, "Esa bonim tikachva," that also you have to take the sons are also taken away. They said that Rabbi Shimon said that the Beitzim and the Ephrochim are taken away, but the sons are always with the mother, right? But he says, but there's a verse which also says, also take the sons, which means that also the sons are also going to be separated from the Shema. Right? So that's what he comes in. Rabbi Shimon is saying the sons never separated. And he brings a verse from the Torah. He says, no, it's not true. The sons are also separated. Amalei, so Rabbi Shimon said to him, Saba, of course, Saba gives him respect, but he says to him, Call itin the. So the verse says, et. The verse says, et habonim. It doesn't say habonim tikachov, it says et habonim. And we have a rule that the word et, which is really not translatable, comes to add something. Because the word et is aleph ta, right? That's the beginning and the end. So it's all the letters. So he says it comes to add something. And so what is it coming to add here? It's coming to add, he says, called et in Luribui, every et comes to add something. To begin Daloma Babonim Tikachov. That's why it doesn't say take the sounds, it says Ela et, and, or an addition. So that, he says, is to include the chicks. But the sons themselves you don't take. The sons, Rabbi Shimon pushes aside the kasha. Because it says et, it's not talking about the sons, it's talking about the chicks. The sons themselves you don't take. And the sons, well, these higher scholars who are immersed in the Kabbalah, they are never separated. And they have Revekus, they have attached to the Shekhinah. Amalei, so the elder, the Saba says to Rabbi Shimon, Baruch ant utzina kadisha. Blessed are you. Rabbi Shimon is generally referred to, because we're coming up tomorrow night, right? It's appropriate we're talking, we're learning about it. Rabbi Shimon is always called the Butzina Kadisha, the holy light, right? The light which shines, the Butzina, the light which shines, Kadisha, the holy light. So throughout the Sfarim, Rabbi Shimon is called the Butzina Kadisha, the holy source of light. So he says, happy are you, Butzina Kadisha, the Hachi Uvada, because it's certainly true what you say. Ubanim inan vadai tochot ima ila, and the sons are always with the mother. Okay, so now we're going to go more into those Talmidei Chachamim, those wise men, those sages that study the Kabbalah, and they have different names. They're called Hasidim, Giborim, Marek Torah, Choizim, Nevi'im, Tzadikim. There were 6 names here, and they will correspond to the six aspects of
the war and the Christian code, the Pharaohs and
Yisrael. Very good. So we know, let's now talk a little bit about the Partsufim and spheres. We have the 10 spheres are always divided in different ways, but the main way that we are usually divided is that we have the 3 highest ones, which in a way relate to the Rosh, the head, the Mochem, and they are Keter, Chochmah, and Bina, and as in everything in the Torah, it's not that simple, because sometimes you have another one called Das, and sometimes that's in addition, and sometimes it's when you don't have Keter, you have Das. We're not going to go into that now, but we have generally 3 higher ones, and then we have 7, and they in the Partsufim, remember the Partsufim, so to speak, in the higher world is like a family. So Keter relates to Ampim, Chochmah relates to Abba, Bina, which is the female side, relates to Ima, because Bina is the female aspect of the wife, the woman has Bina. And now we have the next, there are 7 left. So the 6 of those, the first 6, which is what Shalom says, which is Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzach, and Hod, are the 6 aspects of Zah. Zah is Zah Ampim, which is the family, you could say, is the young man. That's really, this is in the world of Atzilus, which is the world higher than the world that were made from Rashis. So Zah is like the central aspect, which has 6 sides. And then the 7th one is Malchus, is the female aspect, which is the Nukba, the female aspect. She's like the mate of Zah. So now the Zah, here we're dividing them up into 6 separate categories, so to speak. We're relating 6 categories, so to speak. We're talking about the neshamas, the souls of these wise men, and we divide them up into Hasidim, Giborim, Marek Torah, Masters of Torah, Chozim, Nevi'im, and Tzadikim. We'll have a little problem when we get to Chozim and Nevi'im. Chozim usually would mean a visionary, right? We said Daniel was a Chozeh, because Daniel saw visions, but he wasn't a prophet. There's a difference between prophecy and a vision. Prophecy, the Nevuah, the Almighty speaks through the prophet. But the Chozeh, the Almighty doesn't speak through him, so to speak. He sees and understands things and explains the way. So we're going to start off. So now we're going to go down. Instantly, you see an interesting thing. The sphere, which we're in the sphere now, is the 7 weeks of the sphere. So the 7 weeks of sphere are divided up between these 7 lower spheres, if you look at the Siddurim, and each week, since each sphere is a matrix, it contains all the other spheres within it, so also in the week, each week contains another 7 aspects. We've talked about that before. So it's interesting. You might think that when we go from Pesach to Shavuos, we're coming out of Egypt, we're going up to accept the Torah, right? So I might think we should go up, that the first week starts at the bottom, Malchus. The first day is Malchus for Malchus, and then we ascend till we get to the Torah. But it goes the opposite direction, right? We start off the first day of the sphere is called Chesed b'Chesed, and then we go down, we go through the 7 different branches of Chesed, and then we move the second week into the Zohar, etc. Talk about that another one. So it says Chasidim misitra de Chesed. Chasidim come from the side. Chasidim, well, these 6 letters. So the highest one, Chasidim, comes from the side of Chesed, which is the Draga, which is the level of Av. So Avram Avinu, because he was always involved in the Chesed, right? That's what we know Avram Avinu is for. So he is really like, in him is rooted the quality of Chesed. For Ukme Alea, and it is said of him, Ein Chassid Ela Hamit Chassid Im Kon. What is a Chassid? A Chassid is someone who does Chesed, who is mit Chassid Im Kon. That all his machshava and all his thought is to do the tikkun in the higher world. In other words, how does he do that? He does chesed with people down here, right? We know people involved in chesed, but their purpose, of course, their purpose is to do chesed with people here, but they also at the same time have a higher purpose because they know that the midah of chesed is also going to affect the higher world. One of the amazing things about the creation is although everything comes from the higher world down to here, at the same time what we do here in the lower world affects what's happening in the higher world.
So you're saying our chesed here is tikkun for
Exactly. That's exactly that. So the true, and that's what he says here. He says, Ein chassid ela hamit chassid im koina. A true chassid is someone who is doing chesed with his kona, with his creator, with his master. Ta'abed lekam te'ihu achsanya dilei. Because he makes him, it's like a nest, he's making a home, which is all different, now 4 different examples. He makes him a ken, which is like a home, which is achsanya. He makes it his, achsanya is like where you stay. It makes him a home for him. And then he says, V'dashchina delay, ken delay. And this is the Shechina at the time of Golus, which makes a ken for the higher world. Then, so it has, so like a ken actually is not a fixed home for the bird. So this is not fixed, but nevertheless, at the time when the Beis HaMikdash was Mekayim, so then it was a bias delay, it was a more permanent home. And after the destruction, so it was like a temporary home, but nevertheless, so a chassid, when he's here in this world and he's doing chesed, he makes a home for the Shechina, because that's what he does, and of course at the time of the Beis HaMikdash, it was a bias delay. It was a home, and then it was also the heichel, which is like another level, which is the palace
for the Shechina.
For the Shechina, heichel is Adon, is the gematria of Adoni, which is a home for the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Rishem Yud-Kei Vov-Kei. When it comes to the lower world, it it has to have a place where it can be found. So that's its heichel, its palace, right? The heichel is like the palace of the king.
Right.
So he makes a palace for the king. And the malone also, he says, the lowest level is like a temporary residence. But nevertheless, the chassid is concerned all the time at different levels, where he is at different places and different times, in making a home for the Kodesh Baruch Hu, for the Shekhinah. That's the very highest level of these 6 levels of the Chachamim involved in Kabbalah. Uba'ar Kedisha, Ihu Yehudei Ubeis. And in the Holy Land, Eretz Yisrael, when the Beis HaMikdash is Kayam, so the Shekhinah has unity with the higher world. We said the higher world represents Zah, which is Zeh Amkin, and the lower, and her mate, his mate, is the Malchus, is the Nukva. After the destruction of the temple, the Nukva, which is Malchus, which is Shekhinah, goes into exile. But at the time of the Beis HaMikdash, so then there is a unity between the Shekhinah and Zah. V'lav malan v'achsanya, and it's not just like a malon or a hostel, a temporary home. An achsanya is like also a resting place, a temporary place, which is at the time of they're in exile. Ela kafum hahu ba'anash tutakinle. So it's according to what a man is able to fix. So now we explain the Mefushim go into a lot of detail here. For Yisrael, my book says, for Yisrael in their prayer and in the Yichud, they are able to find a home for the Shekhinah. And even at that time, there will be a unity, even though it goes away afterwards. But at the time that a righteous man, a high level, is involved in prayer, so he's able to make a unity between the higher world and the lower. So that's, he said, so he says, according to what that person can do, even at the time of exile and destruction, is able to make a home for his parents. Begin Yasiv Midas Chesed Abraham, and that is why that the need of Chesed was given to Abraham for himself, because that was all that Abraham's whole purpose was, to make a home for a resting place for the Shekhinah. So maybe we'll stop there for tonight. That's a good place to start. And we'll continue.